on July the 20th this year. 56 scouts from 14 states, from sea to shining sea, all came together as strangers to the Verdugo Hills Council Cyber Film Camp. Tonight, we salute these scouts from councils across the United States. Even though in different states and different cities, they quickly bonded in scouting to work together. 3 merit badges in just 5 days, with instruction from entertainment professionals and tips from award-winning special guests, acting, sound design and engineering, script writing for film, television, and animation, framing and getting just the right shot, and character design and animation from some of the industry's best. Instruction in creating special effects, and guidance and tips from legendary producer and director Oz Scott.
Thank you for watching COVID Castaway.
We really hope you enjoyed the hard work we put in to bringing our idea to life.
5 days ago,
scouts from all across the country were put into patrols with strangers.
We were tasked with developing a short film that included a treatment, storyboard, writing, filming, and editing.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we were forced to meet via Zoom.
Virtually, we put our heads together and got to work. Taking inspiration from the movie Castaway, we tied it in as a metaphor to our current situation.
Today people are stranded at home due to the pandemic, just like Tom Hanks was stranded on the island.
We figured out that just like Tom Hanks in Castaway, life can be what we make out of it.
As individuals can innovate and adapt to the situation in order to better ourselves overall.
From all of us here at Work in Progress Studios in
Lexington, Kentucky,
Wallingford, Connecticut,
Burbank, California,
Edgewood, Kentucky,
Cupertino in California,
Eagle Mountain, Utah.
My city is Piedmont and my state is California.
and La Crescenta, California. We thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Come on, we go!
My name is Becky. My son's name is AJ. He just crossed over from the Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts. I'm really grateful for the Scouts because my world or our world was really closed up. It was more of I have 2 jobs, I'm a single parent, and it was more, okay kids, let's just do what we got to do and that's it. But it's really impacted the whole family. So my daughter and I get to go with him to a lot of places. We get to see different things and we really enjoy it. And it's not only him, it's the family. It's the family. Like I said, I have made friends for life. I mean, I know it's not just to him, it's the family. I mean, I can feel that connection with these people that I didn't even know before. I can call them up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, this happened at school and I don't know what to do. I'll talk to his leader and he will tell me, don't worry about it. I'll talk to him, and he will. And then AJ will come up to me and say, Mama, I'm sorry. And it's just something that that they give, because what they're doing for my son now, it's going to pay off so much in the future. And I know this. I know that he needs this guidance. He needs a positive male role models in his life. It's just not a club, it's family. I mean, it just grows into a family.
My name is TC. I'm a refugee from Thailand, but I was born in the border of Burma and Thailand, and now Myanmar. Yeah, when I was 11, my parent was thinking of coming to the United States, but we were getting the opportunity to come. When I get here, the first person that I met was Bob Rollins, who was our Scoutmaster that was starting the refugee program for Scouts. And then, yeah, the first time I met him, he asked me to join the Scouts. And so I was 11 when I started joining Scout, and yeah, ever since I'm still Scouts. I started learning English from Scouts. It took me a couple of weeks, but the leader was helping us out how to communicate. But all I understand was like, how are you? Yes or no? Those kind of things. When I came, I have a best friend here that we started school together, Scout together, and then his family moved to a different state. And his life was changed when there was no Scout in a different state. He started going to gang, possession of drug, driving under influence of alcohol. First he was just in juvie, and then jail, and now he's in prison. I feel like I was the lucky because I was here, there were Scouts, there's leaders that support and helping and lending a hand if we need help. So that is one thing that has changed a lot of my life, because when I see myself to my friend, if my family moved to a different state, I feel like the same thing will happen to me when I was young. Because of Scout, I was able to do what I do, what I like. And even now, the Scout helping me learn different skill, leadership. Right now, I'm assistant Scoutmaster for the Young Scouts. You know, Scouting helped so many guys in our group, especially. Some of the Scouts did not speak English when they come and became Scouts. Now they were able to help their family, provide food for their family. One thing that is a Scout helping us is like for us to grow in school. Some of us was able to get higher education. Some of us goes to college. Some of us go to university, and some of us was able to do many of the work related, being as a supervisor, manager, and other things that that Scout taught us. When there is opportunity to come to join Scout, don't hesitate to join, because that Scout will change your life. I guarantee that.
Good morning, everyone. While I can't see all of you, I want to say that it's good to have all of you join us this morning for our annual community fundraising breakfast event, benefiting scouting programs here in the Verdugo Hills Council. My name is Louis Sad, our council president, and I'll be serving as master of ceremonies for today's event. It's going to be an inspirational morning, even if it's a little bit different. Definitely a lot different than we've done it in the past. The Verdugo Hills Council, Boy Scouts of America, is celebrating our 100th year this year. Just think about that. 100 years ago, a group of people saw the great things that were happening with this newly formed youth movement called Boy Scouts and decided that Glendale, Burbank, and Eagle Rock needed such a program. The council received a charter from the national office and the Boy Scouts to conduct scouting programs within the specified boundaries, including the communities of La Crescenta, Verdugo City, Sunland, Tujunga, Highland Park, Atwater, Tropico, and Sun Valley, in addition to Glendale, Burbank, and Eagle Rock. For 100 years, scouting programs have been funded through the community support and contributions of people like you. This ensures that individual scouts can continue to participate for a minimal fee. Today's breakfast is a continuation of that community fundraising effort, taking the place of funds that used to come from organizations such as the United Way. Nowadays, our council must raise about $200,000 each year to fund our $900,000 operating budget. Your gifts this morning help significantly with that effort. To get things going, I would like to introduce Sam Engel Jr., past president and current vice president of camping, to open with an invocation.
Thanks, Louis. Good morning, everyone. The Boy Scouts of America does not have and has never had a religious test for membership. However, the tenets of scouting are based on a universal acknowledgement of a higher spiritual being. Scouts all over the world with different religious traditions honor the 12th point of the Scout Law: a scout is reverent. The grace that's said at Philmont Scout Ranch has become nearly universal in the scouting movement. Please prepare yourselves as we say our invocation this morning in your own tradition. For food, for raiment, for life, for opportunity, for friendship and fellowship, we thank thee, O God. Amen. In the scouting organization, the council commissioner is responsible to see that all packs, troops, posts, and crews, essentially the core organizational units of scouting, are functioning effectively. In our council, the council commissioner has one other very specific duty, and he or she knows that from the time they're selected, and that is to lead the Pledge of Allegiance at public meetings when scouts are not in attendance. Let me introduce Arto Kazarians, our council commissioner, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
Please join me to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thanks, Arto. It's good to see you up this morning. Good morning, everyone. For 2 years, Arto and I were part of the key three of the council, and we met once a month at 7 a.m. for breakfast, which was always a challenge for all of us, except Mark. Mark, of course, if you were 2 minutes late, he was texting you. On behalf of our board of directors, our 812 volunteers, and our 2,350 scouting participants, I want to welcome you to our community breakfast. And I want to invite you to be as generous as your wallet will allow. As Louis said, today's proceeds will go a long way towards helping us meet our community fundraising goal for 2020. Joining us today is our interim Scout executive, Michael Hale. Mike's regular assignment is Deputy Regional Director for the Western Region of the Boy Scouts of America. So he's got a lot on his plate right now as he also serves as our interim Scout executive. I am not going to individually introduce our board of directors, but I would encourage you to look on the screen for their names and in the online program. Our board oversees the operation of our council and is a pretty impressive and hardworking group. They're proud of the program we provide and are inspired by the accomplishments of our scouts, a couple of whom you will meet later. Louis Sad, who you've already met, is our president, and Arto Kazarians, my compadre, is our council commissioner. Next, I want to share you a welcome from our national office. Quote, "Good morning, supporters of the Verdugo Hills Council. We are so proud of the work being done in your council to sustain, yes, even grow scouting programs so that every young person that wants to join scouting can. Verdugo Hills Council continues to set the example for membership growth and the expansion of scouting through your creative programming efforts, even during this difficult time when assembling together is difficult. Best of luck with your community breakfast. We are confident that you can meet your fundraising goal and continue the great work of the Verdugo Hills Council. Yours in scouting, your friends and supporters in the National Office of the Boy Scouts of America." That was nice. They recognize our achievements in membership growth year over year. Today's event raises funds for the Boy Scouts in a couple of different ways. First, we have our event sponsors. If you take a look in your virtual program booklet, you will see we have multiple sponsors who have contributed to this event. I would like to thank our title and lead sponsors, McCormick Construction. Mike and Steve McCormick are principals in McCormick Construction and are our title sponsors. Bob McCormick, their brother and uncle respectively, is a past president of our council, and later on you will enjoy the participants of the Bob McCormick Eagle Scout Scholarships. Our LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger comes from a strong scouting background and is a longtime supporter of the scouting program. Both her brothers are Eagle Scouts, and we're pretty sure that if family scouting were in place when she were a child, Ms. Barger would have given her brothers a run for their money and made Eagle as well. New American Funding and Hovik Shahinian. Hovik is a familiar name around the council. He's a volunteer in the district and has served as scoutmaster for his son's troop. The Kiwanis Club of Glendale. Randy Slaughter, president. The Kiwanis Club has sponsored Cub Scout packs and scout troops for years. Nationally, Kiwanis is the oldest organizational partner for the Boy Scouts. Their motto matches with scouting's goals, serving the children of the world. We have many other sponsors just as important. Please look in your book and check out their information. When you can, please patronize these businesses and let them know that you appreciate their support of scouting. Our second source of funds is all of you. The cost of a virtual event is pretty much nothing, so everything you contribute goes directly into our scouting programs. Later on, our Vice President of Fund Development is going to be asking you to contribute something. Hopefully, you can. With a virtual event, you can use your computer or your phone to contribute directly using the link provided at any time. Hopefully, by the time that Zari comes to the virtual podium, you all will have been mighty generous. So instructions for contributing online are provided on the screen. Our goal is to raise $65,000 today. Let's make it happen. Now back to Louis.
Thanks, Andy. I know you've inspired everyone to step it up this morning. As we said, this is our 100th year of operations as a council. That's 100 years of scout camps, camporees, Sea Scout regattas, Pinewood derbies, Explore Olympics, national jamborees, patrol meetings, committee meetings, fundraisers, and everything else that is part of a comprehensive scouting program. Let me tell you a few facts about our council so that you'll have assurances that your contributions will be well invested. All Scout activities are volunteer-led. Among youth organizations, only the AYSO and the Girl Scouts have the same volunteer-led program. We have 812 registered adult volunteers. All of our volunteers are certified in youth protection training to ensure safety for our youth. Geographically, we're a small council, serving Glendale, Burbank, La Crescenta, Sunland, Tujunga, La Cañada, Eagle Rock, Atwater, Sun Valley, and Highland Park. Population-wise, we're a very dense council, meaning that we have a large population that we serve. Currently, we have 2,350 registered scouts, as was said. And this is important, our membership has grown each year for the past half decade. We own our own scouting center, a remarkable asset that provides us stability. We operate 2 special camps. Camp Verdugo Oaks is the Oak Flats area of the Angeles National Forest and is ideally set up for use by younger scouts, Cub Scouting families, adult training, and specialty camps. The High Sierra Adventure Base at Camp Silverford is exactly that, a base camp for scout units to access the beauty and backcountry of the Kaiser Wilderness. We promote and administer 2 trails and can accommodate up to 100 scouts on the trail on any given day. This summer, in the face of COVID-19 restrictions, we operated virtual camps for Cub Scouts and an online film academy for scouts. Both received rave reviews. Through the foresight of previous scouting supporters, we maintain a strong endowment from which we diligently draw earnings to support our annual budget. We have an active and involved board of directors that I'm proud to be a part of. Our council led the country in enrolling girls initially in Cub Scouts and then 2 years ago into traditional scouting. We anticipate recognizing our first female Eagle Scout within the next few months. And that leads us to our next inspirational moment. Let me introduce to you Jim Raby, past president of the council and our vice president of property, for a couple of special presentations.
Thank you, Louis. I'm going to talk. McCormick Construction is an Eagle sponsor for this event, but in addition is what they've established in honor of Bob McCormick is the Eagle Scholarship for young boys. But first, Bob was a part of our scouting family. His career started in Verdugo Hills Council with Troop 23 on the Glendale-Burbank border. He fondly recalls his high adventure tricks, being part of Order of the Arrow, attendance at the 1964 National Jamboree at Valley Forge, and the dedication required to earn his Eagle Scout rank in 1965. His strong beliefs in the scouting program led him to continue working with scouts, and particularly when with his 3 boys. And as a scouter in Troop 118, he served on the parents' committees. He was an assistant scoutmaster as well as scoutmaster. But one of his proudest moments were when his 3 sons, John, Doug, and Sean, each earned the rank of Eagle Scout. Bob was an active member of the Verdugo Hills Council Executive Board. He chaired our golf tournaments. He was a vice president of administration. He was council president in 2005 and 6, and he was awarded the Silver Beaver Award, which is the council recognition for service to the Boy Scouts in 2006. And as a personal note, Bob was president-elect while I served as president of the council. We worked together very closely for those 2 years, and Bob was a man of integrity. We had personnel problems to deal with. Integrity was important to Bob, and so this scholarship is the first of its kind in the council, and we think it's very important. We have 4 boys, 4 young men who've been awarded the scholarship. I'm going to read a little bit about each of them and present and then read the thank you notes that they've submitted to us. The first is Alistair Cuizon. He will be a senior at St. Francis High School and is an Eagle Scout in Troop 317. Alistair is a leader. He's a senior patrol leader in his troop. He's an executive board member for Habitat for Humanity at St. Francis High School. He assists in the confirmation program at his church, and he's one of the outstanding students at St. Francis High with a GPA of 4.46. Alistair would like to thank McCormick Construction for sponsoring this scholarship. Ever since I was a Tiger Cub in first grade, my ultimate goal was to achieve the rank of Eagle. It is such an honor and a privilege to achieve this rank. Scouting has helped me grow and mature into a responsible young man. I have learned leadership skills, how to give back to my community through service, and other life skills along the way. Receiving this scholarship is such an honor, as it will help financially prepare me for the next phase of my life. Our second recipient is Diego de la Cruz. He graduated from Marshall Fundamental School with a 4.0 GPA. Diego will be a freshman at UCLA, and he's an Eagle Scout from Troop 188. He was senior patrol leader in his troop, and his scoutmaster said he was the go-to person whenever a young scout needed help. He's a standout vocal performer, and his music leader said he is the best young male vocalist that he has ever had the privilege to direct and to work with. Diego thanks McCormick Construction Company for the scholarship. Scouting has greatly influenced who I am as a person and taught me many life lessons. Through scouting, I have developed good leadership skills and a love for the outdoors. I've also made meaningful friendships. Scouting has prepared me to be a leader in the world. Our third recipient is Gianfranco Federes. Gian graduated from the USC Hybrid College Prep School. He's an Eagle Scout in Troop 101. He will be attending UC San Diego in the coming months. He also is a leader and has been senior patrol leader in his troop. He's been a volunteer for the past 2 years at Children's Hospital. He's been nominated by his classmates for his character and his leadership roles to take on leadership positions at the school. He has a 4.46 GPA, and he plans on being a physical therapist. And Gian would like to thank McCormick Construction family for the generous scholarship opportunity to new Eagle Scouts. This was a pleasant surprise, and I am deeply grateful for being one of the recipients. I will put the funds to good use through furthering my education. Scouting has taught me the importance of giving back to my community. Scouting has also allowed me to come out of my shell through stepping up to leadership positions and detaching myself from the comfort of my own home to attend campouts with my troop. Once again, thank you to the McCormick Construction family. And then our fourth recipient is Wyatt Wheeler. He is currently on the East Coast at school. He graduated from John Burroughs High School in Burbank. He's an Eagle Scout in Troop 201. He's currently attending Marymount Manhattan College back in New York. He joins a long line of family Eagle Scouts, starting with his great-grandfather. He's a faithful instructor to young Scouts, including the girls in their new newly linked Girl Scout troop. Wyatt also has a 4.6 GPA, and he hopes to be an actor or a playwright. And Wyatt says, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you to the McCormick Company for this incredible honor. The kindness and generosity of this grant is not lost on me. The fact that you decided to assist me in achieving my dreams is humbling, but to put it lightly, I will do my best to continue to embody the ideals of an Eagle Scout as I begin my adventures in higher education. I would love to be flowery about it, but no two words sum up my feelings better than these. Thank you. I appreciate this honor more than I could possibly verbalize. Scouting has been perhaps the most influential aspect of my life, and I can say that with near 100% confidence. When I was bridging into scouting, I was confused about who I was, who I wanted to be, and how I wanted to be perceived by others. Scouting helped me to find the answer to these questions, even though I didn't know they needed answering at the time. Many times in my life, I have arrived at moral crossroads, and each time I have made my decision by asking myself which path the oath and law would lead me down. In my daily interactions with others, I will do my best to live up to the standard that is set for me by bearing the title of Eagle Scouts. I know I will never be perfect, but scouting has taught me to consistently strive to be better, a lesson that I will be learning for the rest of my life. Thank you very much. And those are our 4 recipients. And who am I supposed to introduce?
Thank you, Jim, and congratulations to Wyatt, Gianfranco, Alistair, and Diego. Thanks also to the McCormick Construction Company. Your generosity as a sponsor of this event and for scholarships for these impressive scouts will make a huge difference. Since it began, our community breakfast has brought us a number of inspiring stories. Each year, it gets harder and harder to top the previous year's message. This year is no different, but I think we have a surefire winner. Todd Houston has an amazing story, which he's turned into a career, really almost a quest, to inspire and motivate others through the power of love, and he's going to share it with us this morning. Following Todd's speech, we'll have some time for questions, so please submit your questions via the form online. During the Q&A, our moderator will read the questions and your first name so that all can hear. Todd has been featured in thousands of publications throughout the world, including the popular book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, A Second Helping. You may have also seen him as a special guest on CBS Year in Sports and on most major broadcasts and cable news networks throughout the years. In addition to earning a number of distinguished honors, Houston shared his stories in a book, More Than Mountains, The Todd Houston Story, and has hosted inspirational radio and television programs throughout the country and the world. He is a very proud Eagle Scout, and he also received the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award last year. Who better to speak to us at this difficult time in our country than Todd Houston? It's my pleasure to introduce an incredible person with an awe-inspiring story. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Houston.
So they finally get me to the emergency room, and I died. They resuscitated me, got me in the operating room, and I died again. So I died twice that day.
The world has its share of incredible mountain ranges, each with its share of high-profile peaks. Many people dream of reaching such elevations, but only few are bold enough to do so. This is a story of one man who broke world records. A man who set a world record by climbing to the highest elevations in every American state in a little less than 67 days. This world record holder has been featured in thousands of publications and televised programs across the world, achieving various global recognition as well as being awarded with several distinguished honors. Regarded as an inspirational speaker, his journey reflects both strength and ambition. However, it isn't only his achievements that have become the main source of motivation. It is more about how he managed to overcome the obstacles that stood in his way.
I know some people may consider this somewhat remarkable, but it really all started when my life changed when I was 14 years old. It was a beautiful day, and I had no idea what was about ready to happen. I'm sure everybody has had an experience where everything has just been going along great in life, and then all of a sudden, something happened. And my legs got sucked into the propeller. And that's when my life changed forever. It's been a long time since that accident when I was 14 years old. I've overcome a lot of challenges, and I've been able to reach the impossible. And that's what I'm talking to you about today. I want to help you be able to reach your goals, overcome your obstacles, and achieve those dreams that you have in life. That's why I came to this event, is to talk to you and you. Hello, everybody. It is such an honor to be here at Verdugo Hills Council Breakfast. You might hear a little lightning going on. We're getting the first parts of that hurricane are starting to come through right now. We're getting a lot of rain. But anyhow, all is good. We're safe and dry. I want to, first of all, just say thank you for the Boy Scouts. They not only made a huge difference in my life, they actually saved my life. And that's a story that I want to get into here in a little bit. But first of all, I know we all have a lot of stories of being scouts. Those of us who were out there in the program, I can remember scout camp and having somebody throw poison ivy in the fire. That was lovely because I woke up in the middle of the night with swollen eyes and my whole head. It was really pretty messed up. Of course, I had to miss the rest of scout camp and go home because of that. Or the time that I almost, I was walking along a creek and it was barefoot, and I went to set my foot down, and then about 2 or 3 inches, if I would have gone a little bit further down, I would have put my foot right in the den of a group of copperheads, little baby copperheads. That would not have been fun. And one of my stories I recall is how I was in my tent. We had a storm, kind of like what we have right now. Got a lot of rain coming down, hearing some lightning in the tent. I always find that kind of comforting. But what was kind of strange was when the rain started coming up from the ground and going toward the roof of my tent. It was actually raining backwards. And that's because we had a tornado going over our tent. So we all have those kind of stories, and we remember them forever and hopefully fondly. And the Boy Scouts has just been just a blessing all throughout my life. And it was people like you that helped support me when I was going through that program. And they ended up not only making a difference in my life, but making a difference in millions and millions of others. So let me kind of get to my story. As you saw in my video that you're watching, I am a leg amputee, and I do something a little unique with it, and that is I am a mountain climber. And if you're wondering, Todd, is he really a leg amputee? I'll show you one of my legs here. Here's my leg. There, right there. And I know what you're probably thinking, that poor guy, he only has one leg. Well, that's not true. I actually got about 6 or 7 of these in my closet at home. I have legs for whatever activities I might be doing. Now let's talk about how this happened. Back when I was 14 years old, I was behind the boat. I was water skiing when I looked up and I saw my friends and my family in the boat, but it was coming towards me. And I screamed, "Hey, stop the boat!" But they couldn't hear me. They're, the sound of the engine, and they're laughing and having a good time. And the next thing, bam, I'm hit. Both my legs are sucked into the propellers, tossing me back and forth underneath the water, feel the propellers crawling up my legs, and all of a sudden it came to a grinding halt. I opened my eyes, and this dark green Oklahoma water had now turned to a bright red. I knew that I'd been hit. Well, my dad reaches down to pull me out, and that was when I realized how my life had just changed forever. Because you know how when you have something that happens in your life and you know that it's never going to be the same after that? Well, that's how it was with me. So I looked down, my entire left thigh had been ripped down to the bone. The backside of my right leg was missing. My knee had been sliced in half. They're throwing me in the bottom of the boat. I got this little Texas oil well. Well, this is where scouting saved my life. First of all, we knew, put direct pressure on it. We learned that through first aid. And then one of the hardest lessons that I had to immediately learn at that point was don't panic. Imagining not having to panic in that situation. But I was able to get calm. They got me to a small hospital. The doctor looked at me and said, "You got to get him to a larger facility. We can't help him here." As he was overheard telling his operating room staff, "I don't think this kid's going to make it." Well, finally, they get me to another hospital. And once they got me there, got me in the emergency room, I died. They resuscitated me, and I flatlined again. So I actually went out twice that day. Well, the next day, I woke up and like I said, I was just your average kid. I mean, I was into the football and wrestling and baseball and things like that, just sports, and I loved scouting. As you can see there, I was in the Order of the Arrow. I had 54 merit badges, God and Country, and an Eagle, and I just loved scouting. Well, as I said, that next day when I woke up, all of this was gone. Because now what I woke up to was I was lying in a bed. I had hoses and tubes and wires connected to me, and I felt through all of those, and I felt that I still had both my legs and thought, hey, everything's going to be okay. But that wasn't the case. I told my parents that if I survived, I'd probably never walk again. Well, I struggled in that hospital, and I kept asking this one question that all of us probably ask at one point in our lives or another, and when we have something happen to us or somebody we care about, and that was, why? Why me? And sometimes we get that answer right away, and sometimes, like in my case, it was going to take many years before I'd realize how something that was so horrible could actually become one of my greatest blessings in life. And I can't tell you what your why may be for something you've gone through or when you might get that answer, but I can tell you when you know you have it. And that is when that answer not only blesses you, but it also blesses others. Well, I finally got out of the hospital. And when I did, I had a paralyzed leg below the right knee. And it got infected, and I battled that for about 7 years until eventually, I had to wear like this big metal brace just to be able to hold my foot up, kind of like in the movie Forrest Gump. And that's what I'm showing you a picture of today, because I don't know if you've ever seen Forrest Gump where he wears that big metal brace. That's what I had to wear. And if you're ever watching that movie, look in the hospital scene where Forrest starts playing ping pong. That's me sitting right behind Tom Hanks. I had no idea how great that was movie was going to become. But then again, you know, when we go through a tragedy in our lives, we have no idea what greatness could actually come out of it. Well, like I said, I sat there and I battled with the infection. I wore that big old brace, and it kept giving me sores, and until eventually, when I was 21, the doctor said, "Todd, you need to make a choice. You need to choose between your leg or your life, because that infection could get into the rest of your body and can become very dangerous. And we can try and save the leg, but if we do, it could put your life at risk. Or we can amputate your right leg below the knee, and we think that will get rid of the infection." Well, of course, I chose to have my leg amputated. And I remember the night before I was going into surgery thinking, wow, I have really gone through a lot of challenges. Just like many of you that are watching this right now, you have gone through major challenges in your life. And I thought at 21, I'm going to continue having these challenges. But I thought, do I really want all that craziness out in the world to determine my happiness and my joy and my peace that I have in life? And boy, we know there is a lot of craziness going on in the world right now. Or is there something stronger within me that no matter what's going on out there, I can always experience that happiness no matter what? Well, I thought there has to be something stronger within us. So the next day I thought I would test my theory, and guess what I did? I went into the operating room and I was wide awake. I did not even have an aspirin in me. All I had them do was numb me below the waist. And while I was talking to the doctor, he fired up the saw and he amputated my right leg below the knee. And that was when I realized that no matter what challenges, no matter how scary it may seem out there, we have the strength. We have what it takes already within us to overcome whatever challenge we need to overcome. Well, I got out of the hospital. I got my new artificial leg. Went on back to school. Then went to graduate school in college and became a psychotherapist in Southern California, where I know you guys, a lot of you are in Southern California, but Lord knows they need all the psychotherapists they can get. So I was down there working, and I worked with disability groups and other groups that were dealing with amputees. And I was approached by someone who said, "Hey, we're trying to put together a group of disabled climbers to climb to the highest elevations of all 50 states." I was so excited about it. I would finally get to go climb these mountains that I wanted to go climb before my accident. Because see, 2 weeks before my accident, or 2 weeks after my accident, I was to film on and I was about that dream got complete. I getting ready something. So and learn how to run again. I was learning how to get to try and climb, to do all these things that I'd hoped to learn many years ago. And then a month before we're supposed to leave, they canceled the expedition. They didn't get the sponsorship. So I had 30 days to continue training. I held down my job as a psychotherapist, and I was going to also have to raise $50,000 as I was trying to get this team together. Well, fortunately, I lived on Balboa Island, which many of you all probably heard of, down in the Newport Beach area, and people jog around it. We had a sign. This guy saw it. He says, "I like it," and he happened to have a phone number, 1-800-ABCDEFG. He owned a company called Hooked on Phonics, and he ended up sponsoring our entire expedition. So then I took off on what was known as the Summit America Expedition, which the goal was to climb to the highest elevation of all 50 states. Now, this is something only 32 people in the world had ever done before, and a leg amputee or disabled person had never even tried it. So I was going to try and be the first disabled person to climb to the highest elevation of all 50 states. That's the leg that I wore. Had a little shock absorber on it so I could jump up and down on the rocks without it hurting my real leg. And I drilled a hole in the center of my foot so I could attach ice crampons and snowshoes. and whatever I might need on that foot. So like I said, I had to go to the highest elevation of all 50 states. I had to go to the highest point of Texas and Arkansas, Florida. I could only fly to 2 states. One was Alaska and the other was Hawaii. I saw a lot of beautiful country, saw a lot of amazing animals, moose, bear. See that little snake there crawling around next to my foot? I figured if he was going to bite me in the foot, he would have been in for a bigger surprise than I would have. Now, I have to admit, some of these were not very high. This is the highest point of Kansas, Mount Sunflower. Something interesting about some of these high points is they had historical events happen at the high point. Kansas was one of those. And I don't know if you remember your history, what that might have been. I'll give you a hint. It was in 1897. Anybody remember what that could be? Well, here's a plaque that tells you about it. Not a lot happening in Kansas. All right, so sometimes I had to deal with extreme weather. Like here in Guadalupe Peak, the highest point of Texas, I was climbing in 118-degree heat. I don't know if some of you have been to extreme western Texas, but there is a lot of beautiful open range. Here's a picture of some of it. Now, when you go out west, the mountains get much higher, like Utah's Kings Peak. Down there in the lower corner, you have Mount Rainier, the highest mountain in Washington State. And then the kind of golden shot over there, that is Mount Whitney, the highest mountain in the lower 48 states at 14,498 feet. So I had to do a lot of extreme climbing. Here I am, a couple of thousand feet of air below me without a rope. Here we are. That's about 13,000 feet up. Again, no rope. That's because ropes were heavy and I felt it was safer not to be with a rope. Now, I'm going to tell you something you're probably going to disagree with me on, but hear me out. And that is, there is no such thing as fear. Fear does not exist. So let me give you an example. When I'm standing on the side of a cliff, I look down it and I go, wow, this is amazing. Whereas the person standing right next to me might literally be peeing in their pants. But see, if I take each and every one of you and I line you up along this cliff, each one of you is going to have a different sensation of fear. That's because you create fear in your heads. If fear were real, it'd be more like danger. It'd be the same for all of us. So what we want to do is we want to recognize fear for what it is. It's like a shadow. It's like an illusion. We want to shine some light on that and get rid of that shadow. And then we can see clearly, because we know through our psych studies that when you try and make decisions based out of fear, you do not make the best decisions. So you want to get that fear out of the way, and then you will make not only better decisions for yourself, but also for others. And one of the last mountains I want to show you is Mount McKinley, also known as Denali, the highest mountain, not only in Alaska and the United States, but the entire North American continent at 20,320 feet. This is a monster of a mountain. It has some of the worst weather of any mountain in the world. You also have to deal with the altitude and the remoteness of this mountain. So we flew in, we landed on the glacier, on the Kahiltna Glacier. Give you an idea what our route looks like. You land at 7,200 feet. You go down when you first start climbing this mountain, or on Heartbreak Hill, and then you start heading up the Kahiltna Glacier, trying to avoid the crevasses along the way. You might camp at 8,000 feet, 10,000 feet, go up Motorcycle Hill, and then around Windy Corner. You have another big camp there at 14,000. That's where you rest for a few days before you go to the higher, more dangerous parts of the mountain. Then you go up 2,000 feet of extreme steep snow, rock, and ice. You get up on 17,000 feet, and that's your high camp. While you're sitting up there, oh, it's so cold. It is so cold. You sit up there and you wait and just hope you have good weather, and then you pop up to the summit, and then you go back down the mountain. You plan on about 21 days going up, about 2 days to descend. So we have snow walls built around our tents. We have snow caves. We carry sleds behind us as we go across these smooth-looking glaciers that actually have hidden crevasses that if you fall, you could disappear forever. We're up about the clouds now, still avoiding the glaciers and the avalanche dangers. We're carrying 65-pound backpacks, dragging 35-pound sleds. Now I'm getting closer to the top. This is a pretty dangerous area where I literally had 2 body bags that had already been dragged in front of me. One was a frozen climber. They found him hanging upside down on the rope. The other one, they found him sitting on a rock with the radio next to his head, frozen to death. And he was hired by the Park Service to teach safe climbing techniques. This mountain could get anybody, no matter how good you thought you were. I had to take 3 breaths sometimes just to take 1 step. The oxygen is so thin. It's half the level of where you are right now in Southern California. So I take those 3 breaths, take a step, and then I feel like my climbing axe was jamming into my legs. I was in so much pain. And if you're wondering if I ever fell, look at my climbing axe. Does it look like I fell? Absolutely. I fell many, many times. But the mark of a true winner is not about falling. It's about getting back up. Not 1 time, 3 times, or even 297 times. It's about getting up every single time. And that's what I had to do. And I kept taking 1 breath after another, and then a step, and then another breath until eventually I hit the top of North America at 20,320 feet on a very rare and beautiful clear day. Now, the whole idea behind this climb was to climb to the highest elevation of all 50 states, something that only 32 people in the world had ever done before. And a leg amputee disabled person had never accomplished it. I became the first disabled person to climb to the highest elevations of all 50 states. Also, the world record was 101 days. Instead of 101 days, I did it in 66 days, 22 hours and 47 minutes, thereby shattering the 2-legged world record by over 35 days, becoming the first disabled person to hold and break an able-bodied world record. Now, I did this climb to inspire people. They can overcome their challenges and they can reach their goals. And we get challenges that come from everywhere, but they're all here for the same purpose. And that is to bring out that greatness that already is within you. And I believe that the greatest power, the greatest strength that we have within us is the power of unconditional and pure love. And with that love, that's what it taught me. Scouting taught me that we have the ability within us to make a difference, not only within our own lives, but also within others. But we must first practice. And I want to encourage you, as you go throughout your day, have every thought be your most loving thought. Every word you say, let them be your most loving words. And every action you do, let them be your most loving actions. And then you will not only be able to help others to achieve the heights that they were meant to go, but you will also achieve the great heights that you were already have within you. So, thank you, Boy Scouts. Thank you for all you've done in my life. And I just hope and pray that those that are listening here will know that you do make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Todd, for that inspiring story. We're going to be transitioning to Todd on another platform in just a minute so that he can answer some of the questions that we have. Wow, very inspiring. Todd has accomplished some great things in life after a tremendous setback, and I think we're all inspired by that this morning. I can't wait to hear some of the questions that everyone in the audience are asking of Todd, and I can't wait to hear his responses as well. My favorite part of his story so far is that he was a psychotherapist in California. I'm sure business has been booming for a long time in that profession for California. It's inspiring that Todd discussed his why with us. And I think at this moment, maybe all of us that are participating in this breakfast can take just a minute and reflect on our why. I think for some of us, it develops over time, it changes. And sometimes we don't really have that fully formed in our mind of what our why is. But let's just take a minute and think of that. And we look forward to hearing from Todd in just a minute when he answers some of our questions. And in the meantime, I want to take a moment to thank some very generous sponsors that have been coming through. Richard Bertain from Bertain Escobar Wealth Management has donated $1,000. We appreciate that as one of our large gifts. Paige White, also $1,000. William Cruz, $1,000. Bobkin Amirian, $1,000. And Louis Scalfani, $1,000. These are some of the donations that have been just coming through. They're some of many donations. They're some of the highest, and we really appreciate that. We've already raised over $36,000 of our $65,000 goal. So we're already halfway there, and we haven't even officially asked for donations yet. So we're going to be doing that a little later in the program. And it's now time for us to ask Todd some questions. So I think, Todd?
Yes.
Thank you so much for your inspiring words this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I think at this point, what's that, Todd?
I appreciate having the opportunity to do it. So
Absolutely,
scouting really meant a lot to me and still does. And I just know that, it's onward and upward with the scouts that I meet nowadays. They just have dreams that I never even thought of. So I think we're looking at a very bright future.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. We have a question here from an individual named Sam, and Sam's asking, what was your darkest moment and what was the spark that started your recovery?
Darkest moment is like when I was injured.
Yes, exactly.
Is that what he's talking about? Okay.
Yeah.
And Sam, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So Sam, I got to tell you, I only had, a few minutes to, tell a story that normally takes me about an hour. So there were pieces of it that weren't in there. And so you're going to ask a question. I'm very transparent. And I would say that the darkest moment was probably when I got addicted to the painkillers. It was really, really rough for me. It really just kind of changed my personality, who I was, my goal, directions in life. And I thought I'd overdosed. And I thought that was it. And that was probably my so-called dark night of the soul, if that's what you're referring to. And I ended up, just saying, if I get out of this, God, I'll never do it again. And that was back when I was in my early 20s. And I got to tell you that I have since never had another painkiller, except I think one for a wisdom tooth. I threw the rest of the bottle away. And I haven't had a sip of alcohol or even a sip of Coca-Cola for over 30 years. So I would say that was probably, one of the darker moments. I think also when you go through a breakup in a relationship, like I had a marriage happen, those can be very, very dark times too. It's not really the physical stuff that really knocks us for a loop. It's when we go through those mental battles and challenges that we have in our life.
Absolutely, Todd. Thank you so much for that. We have another question from Angela here, and Angela is asking, could you amplify a couple of strategies someone could use to turn a challenge into a blessing?
Okay, well, all right. One of them's really simple. First of all, look for the opportunity. Let me just think about it. You just change your perspective. Because remember, it all starts in your head. That's where it all starts. If you're waiting for things out here to change, you're probably going to be disappointed. And even if they do change, you're probably still going to miss out on opportunities that you never would see. So what you need to do is change what's inside first. So a couple of things you can do. If you're already in that situation, then just go, okay, how can this be an opportunity? And you may not see what the blessing is down the road, and you don't have to see the big picture. Don't even try and do that. You'll drive yourself crazy. What you got to do is just say, I want to start seeing the good in this. I want to start being the most loving person that I can be in this situation. How do I have to think? How do I have to act? What do I have to say in this situation so that I can turn it into something good? And don't just rely on your own power to do that. You just need to get the rudder turned. And then I think you will see great changes happen for you. So, and you may not see them right away, but I promise you, you got to start from within. And that's what I tell people all the time. They're always out there waiting for somebody else to change or something else to change. And the only thing that's going to change anything out there is what you change within you.
Todd, that's amazing. And when you just said that, it reminded me of a Martin Luther King quote, and I believe it goes something like, you only need to see the next stair. You don't need to see the entire staircase. So you just need to see the next stair and take that step and move forward. You don't need to see the entire staircase ahead of you. So that's a
Right.
very inspiring message.
and don't get discouraged if you get knocked down a step or two on your way up. That's just part of the way it works sometimes. So don't get discouraged. And like I said, the best attitude you can ever have in anything that you go through life is to have one of unconditional love. I've gone through graduate school, psychology, and worked in psych hospitals, had private patients, traveled all over the world, been in the presence of kings in their palaces and all that kind of stuff. And I tell you, everything I've ever seen, the most powerful thing you can do, the answer to, how to get through all of this stuff begins with love. And I'm not talking like a hippie, love, peace, da, da, da. I'm talking about genuinely caring and loving and finding joy and peace and goodness in you and in everything around you and everyone you meet.
Awesome, Todd. Awesome message. We have a question here from a scout, and that scout is Zach. And Zach wants to ask.
Well, what rank is Zach?
I don't see his rank right here, but
okay.
We have a message from him.
Zach, throw your rank in there, buddy.
Yeah, well, that's Zach for his rank. But Zach wants to say that he really enjoyed your talk today, and he has a scout-related question. Then that is, what was your fondest scouting memory? What was your favorite merit badge? What specific experience from scouting did you draw upon while undertaking your record climbing feat? So there's a few questions in there, but why don't we start with what was your fondest scouting memory?
Okay, fondest scouting memories are always, this may not sound like it should be one. I was actually a Cub Scout at the time, and I could have been a Weeblo. But I was in a tent. It wasn't a tent. It was a rainstorm. It was one of those cold autumn type, late autumn days, November, cold rain, damp. And all we had over us was a tarp. And we started a fire. And we just had so much fun. And that is just a memory that has always stuck with me. Now, I also remember the time, I saw somebody bit by a scorpion. I remember the times, like I said, the tornadoes coming over the tents. And, there are a lot of fond memories. But I got to tell you, that's the one I just kind of reflect on and go, that was kind of cool. I just, I was cold. I was miserable, but it was fun.
That's awesome. And Zach did reply again. He is a Cub Scout. So we're really proud of Zach as a Cub Scout. And his next question here is, what was your favorite merit badge?
Okay, well, I had 54 merit badges. So I'm not going to, I can't really say what my favorite one was. There are probably some that there are some that I kind of enjoyed, probably stick out more than others. I loved archery and things like that. I enjoyed the cooking merit badge, actually. That was kind of fun. First aid meant a lot to me. Anything that had to do with swimming, I hated, just because it's just not my thing. But I would say, those are probably the ones I enjoyed. And the community service, there's one, for the community that I really.
Citizenship in the community.
Huh? Citizenship.
I believe it's citizenship
right.
in the community.
Yeah, have the nation and world, that kind of thing. But, it's just, doing those kind of, that was kind of fun too.
Okay. So we have one more question today, and this is from Jack. And Jack is a tenderfoot, and he wants to know, what other things would you like to accomplish in your life? And do you think your why will change over time?
Oh, that's okay. That's interesting. Yeah, good question. Well, I'll tell you, what I'm hoping to do now is, and I've been on this for about a decade, and we're really kind of launching it out there more. As a matter of fact, I may be going on the Today Show here with a few days. And that is, I wrote a book called Mental Survival Guide for COVID-19, trying to help people there. That's kind of an immediate thing I'm doing. But my big thing is really trying to teach people what is love? What's the science behind love? How do we use it in our businesses? How do we use it in, taking care of our mental health and even our physical health? We have studies that show how by having this kind of attitude, you can have a much healthier, physically and mentally healthier life. So we talk about it, but very few really understand the science behind it and how to use it. And we're not really taught that. And I'm hoping that we're going to be out there changing the world with it. So we'll see.
Well, Todd, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
I do have to ask one thing. I thought Zach had 3 questions. Did we get all of Zach's questions answered?
Good memory. Let me go up here. Okay, so the final question, I think I changed the page here. What specific experiences from scouting did you draw upon while undertaking your record climbing feats? So any specific experiences from scouting or merit badges or lessons or anything that did you draw upon when you were actually accomplishing those record climbing feats?
Yeah, you know what? Yes. So like I was talking about that tent, the joy of doing it, just being out there and just having a love for nature and just appreciating the opportunity to be out there. Because when you get older, you don't always have that opportunity to be out and smell the pine trees, to see nature, to watch the animals, to climb, to feel the rock and to see the beauty. That is just such a blessed experience, and it'll stay with you all your life. And if you get an opportunity to do it later on in life, you I think even appreciate it more. So anyway, I would say just drawing on those experiences and realizing that scouting had given me a truly amazing opportunity, and it also taught me to be out there, to persevere. They stick you out in the woods sometimes all by yourself, those OA initiations and things like that. And, it's amazing how those little times as a scout and all those little experiences you have can make big differences later on in life.
Amazing, Todd. Thank you so much for sharing that and for answering those questions and for really connecting with everyone watching today. It's been really inspiring. I think we're all going to take something from what you said, if not many things from what you've said, and really take it throughout our entire life as inspiration. So thank you for your story.
Thank you. And thank everybody for listening and watching in. I really appreciate everybody being there.
Todd, at this point in the program, typically I would be handing you a little plaque or a little pen or something monogrammed with the Verdugo Hills Council seal. So I hope you don't mind, but in lieu of that, due to COVID-19, in lieu of that, we've actually taken the funds that we would have done and created that little plaque, and we've donated them back to the council. I hope you don't mind, but
that's wonderful.
They're in your name. So
yay, yeah. Okay. You don't even have to put them in my name. Just make sure, they go, and I know they're going to be doing good. So that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again. This has been incredible. Thanks for inspiring us this morning. You're setting us into the weekend, inspired. So awesome job. Thanks, Todd.
Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Zari Amirian is our Vice President of Fund Development. Zari is also a distinguished Eagle Scout. After hearing Todd's inspirational message, let's cut to Zari to get to the purpose of today's event.
Thank you, Louie. And Todd, that was an incredible story of grit, determination, and perseverance in the face of monumental obstacles. Thank you for sharing your story and inspiring us to look at some of our challenges with a renewed perspective. Good morning, everyone. My name is Zari Amirian, and I am the VP of Fund Development for the Verdugo Hills Council. Before I begin my remarks, I would like to take a moment to express my profound gratitude to all of the people who have worked so hard to make this event a reality today. Thank you to the Verdugo Hills Council Executive Board, the Fund Development Committee, Verdugo Hills Council staff, our wonderful sponsors, the community breakfast table hosts, and especially each and every one of you for doing your utmost during difficult times to support Scouting and investing your time, energies, and financial support in the future of our community's youth. I come before you today, a product of this council's 100 years of service to the community, to ask for your vital support in these difficult times. At 9 years old, I began my non-standard journey to Eagle as a Cub Scout in our local Homenetmen Ararat chapter. I joined Troop 209 in Burbank at the age of 15 and earned my Eagle Scout in 1999 after completing my Eagle Scout project, wherein I designed, sourced, and constructed a fully stocked and operational science laboratory for a local high school. The skills and lessons I learned during my time as a Boy Scout are a vital and integral part of why I'm here today, 20 plus years later, blessed to continue my life of service as a small business owner and a dedicated public official in the city of Glendale. And Scouting didn't just impact my life. Both of my younger brothers, Narek and Armin Amirian, are also Eagle Scouts. I implore each of you to consider how your generous contribution today will continue the legacy of the Verdugo Hills Council, giving thousands of boys and girls, young men and women, your sons and daughters, nieces and nephews, grandchildren, the same opportunity to take part in the truly life-changing Scouting program offered by the Verdugo Hills Council. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected every one of our lives, and each of you know how challenging it has been to navigate the uncertainty we are faced with today. However, the Verdugo Hills Council is facing an existential threat, and our continuing mission to empower and uplift the lives of our community's children through Scouting cannot continue without your generous contributions. Will you step up to meet this incredible challenge? Those of you attending the breakfast as a guest of one of our incredible table hosts were asked here today because you have the means, the will, and the vision to make Verdugo Hills Council's mission of cultivating and developing extraordinary men and women from young boys and girls through Scouting a reality. I ask that each of you attending today contribute at least $250 to our shared vision. And I can guarantee that your contribution will have a virtually immeasurable return on investment in the future of our community when the boys and girls, supported by your generosity today, realize their fullest potentials through the awesome power of Scouting. We appreciate your incredible support and generosity throughout the years and ask that you please consider contributing again this year to the utmost of your ability so that we can ensure the Verdugo Hills Council continues its mission for the next 100 years. Thank you. I now have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing Rolla Froelich, past president of our council, first ever female president of our council, and a diehard supporter of Scouting, to bring everything home for us. Rolla?
Thank you so much, Zara. And isn't this just a day filled with opportunities? First, I really want to thank Todd. His amazing experiences pushed us along today. And I'm not just talking about his physical accomplishments, and they are impressive. Climbing each of those peaks, but for the example he sets for Scouts, and hey, listen, you guys, for all of us too, to go beyond our expectations. You ever thought you could do this too? I have to tell you, I've never thought of myself as standing on top of a mountain, but I know there's nothing that can't be overcome. We challenge it, and it does come from within. So don't limit yourself. You have to promise me that. Scouts are like this. Now, we've met several Scouts already. Of course, we've heard from Todd, and we met our 4 McCormick Eagle Scout Scholarship winners, boy, that was a fun committee to be on, but hard because those who are applying for these scholarships are really top notch. But I have 2 scouts in my family I'd like to kind of include for all of you. My oldest son, Stephen, from Troop 509 years ago, was selected by our member of Congress back then to go to the Air Force Academy. And he graduated in the class of 76. Back then, the commitment was 5 years of service after graduation. Steve, though, did not do that because he's Stephen. He flew 21 years as a navigator, a Wild Weasel Nav, that's the F4G, including his time in Operation Desert Storm. And what's he doing today after, oh my gosh, I recognize that picture. That's from Philmont. I recognize that man I'm with too. What's Stephen doing today now that he's sort of retired from the Air Force and from his professional life? He's following up the work he did in Troop 509. He's teaching Sunday school, and he's training a group of junior high school age boys in robotics so that they can be a team and compete. And I think that's pretty great because these kids have not known anything at all about those sciences. I remember well when he was still at the academy and he came home one spring break because his younger brother Mark was going to receive his Eagle Scout. Stephen came home to give the Eagle charge. That was pretty special for Mom here. Just want to tell you that. There's nothing quite like it. And how has Mark been following the Scout oath and law all these years? Well, he's been a first responder for nearly 20 years. He works with wildland fire teams and he trains them in communication. And he's out there. Actually, he's on a fire right now. He's on the Cameron Peak fire in Colorado. And so I check up on that status all the time. I'm really proud of him. So is it any wonder that I've been around scouting, well, since my boys went in, and I just love it. So it shouldn't be any great surprise to you that this is one of the places I give. And I'm asking you, I'm encouraging you to give right now along with me. All of our scouts are not going to be jet pilots, and they're not going to be first responders, and they're not going to be Eagle Scouts like the late President of the United States, Gerald Ford. But we do know that every one of them can live honorably and set the best example for others and be responsible citizens. And boy, we need that today. So won't you join me in giving a hand to our remarkable young people? Information about sending checks or donating is on your screen. You know, this is a tough time for a lot of us. I can hear my mother saying, watch it, kid, money doesn't grow on trees. But we can give what we can give, and everything that we share is multiplied. So you know that these gifts are needed. You've heard all these things, but you know something, so are you. You are needed. We need you and your example and your willingness to work with us to help these boys and girls. Thank you so much, because whatever you do is appreciated. So thanks, Scouting family. I knew I could count on all of you. And Louie, the mic is yours again.
Thank you so much, Rala, for your inspiring story and for making Todd's message intersect with our purpose today, inspiring all of us to support scouting here in the Verdugo Hills Council. What a great event. Just like you, I'm following the ticker to see the totals of what we raised today And it's no surprise, but today's program is on track to hit our goal of $65,000. We still have some donations coming in offline as we speak. So your contributions this morning will help push us to this total. And just to remind everyone, you'll be receiving text messages. You should have received one just a few minutes ago with a request to donate. All you have to do is click that link. It'll take you to show the current total, which is not fully updated since we have some coming in offline. But you click that, and please be generous in your donations. We really do appreciate it. So be taking a look at your phones and make sure you have the opportunity to donate now or just when this program concludes in just a few minutes. And if you know someone that was not able to attend this morning and may be inspired to contribute, the books don't close on this event for another 2 weeks. So there's still time to push our fundraising goal even higher this time around. I want to thank our team, including our incredible staff, Amy and Pete, as well as our Fund Development Committee for their hard work. The Fund Development Committee is everyone you saw presenting today, as well as a few more behind the scenes. So we thank them for their contributions in making this event a success. I want to call your attention to our next event. It will also be virtual. It'll be the 46th annual Big Strike Auction. There's an ad in your book for it with details, and we have some great items that are going to be coming up for bid. Like this event, you can participate from the comfort of your own home. So if you don't enjoy the meal, you only have yourself to blame. Thank you so much for your contributions towards scouting in our community. This concludes our program. Have a wonderful Thursday and enjoy the upcoming weekend. Thank you.